cool stuff before I'm recording you.
Oh, I have all the, don't record that. I have notes and stuff on the preliminary hearing. I read through the preliminary hearing, and I had forgotten what all she focused on, his attorney, and there was a lot of that paragraph and a lot of the there was one line I have where I call him like a chicken and a player and stuff, and she was grilling me on that line. Like, it was like, you would have thought I was like a Nazi guard in Auschwitz or something. You know, how could you badger him like this?
My goodness.
Oh, yeah, so yeah.
He's a poor 50-year-old man.
You called him a chicken. Of course he showed up. I mean, he didn't want to, but when you call him a chicken and a liar and a player,
it's fucking bullshit, dude. Like, y'all should want better for your gender than to be like, 50-year-old men can be absolutely manipulated by little girls. Like, they are weak. I mean, we have to let them run the country because women are stupid children, but also men can't resist any woman.
It's like the plot of Back to the Future whenever Marty McFly gets called a chicken, you know, and he's like, oh, I have to do this now. Like, no, it's not every guy isn't like that. Like, some are, but not every guy. Come on now.
Yeah, like, and those are the best ones to fuck with too. The ones that are so weak-willed that all you have to do is say, nah, you won't do that, to goad them into doing anything.
Yeah, you won't do that, or you don't mean that, or you would never actually do that, or like the stock and the best weapon you have is a decoy to make them reiterate that they actually will do this, and they can't then try to back out of it later when they're on the stand and say, oh, I didn't mean it. Well, literally it's in the log where they said, oh, you don't mean that, and you say you do over and over again. That's one of our best weapons.
And it's a good way to be like, so one of these things is a lie. So establishing that you are a liar. So did you lie to this little girl? Or are you lying to the court? Like, which one's better for you and your conscience right now? Like, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, like when you say 20 times, yeah, I will actually have sex with you. It's hard to say that you didn't mean all 20 times. So
yeah, like I was lying every single time.
I'm just a big liar, man. Yeah.
I lie all the time, except for right now.
Except for right now. Yeah.
Yogurt. Sure, fine. Right.
I mean, yeah, if you're really that bothered by hearing someone laugh, then I don't know, to read the chat log yourself on paper. It's not that hard, you know.
Like, they're right there. And for the ones that like that aren't on Perverted Justice, like I leave like Google Doc links to them. Just read them. You don't have to listen to me. Like, I'm not forcing you. Fuck.
Yeah, it reminds me back in the day we would put the little blue text in, and I allowed the people to do that just because so they could express themselves and have a personality and add context. But we used to get so much shit about it. They'd be like, why do you put that in there? Why do you, to the point where we had to make a filter so you could read it without it, because we got so much crap about it. So it's a lot insane. Like that. Yeah, it's just like, what? That's what bothers you?
That's really? My favorite part. Like,
that's what bothers you? Okay. I mean, I think it's actually the chat log that should bother you, but if it's the blue text, then we'll make a special little thing for you. So we made a special little thing for them, and people still complain and said it's unprofessional and stuff. And I'm like,
what?
Okay. Well, no. You know?
My opinion is, if you have to sit through a fucking conversation where a pedophile is trying to fuck a child at you, the least you get to do is make some jokes at their expense after you put in the fucking work. Like,
yeah,
people.
Like, if you have to be bored and sitting through these long conversations, it's good to vent a little bit afterwards. You know, and that was one of the things we tried to do. But we got a lot of crap about it, just like you get crap about your laughing. So I get what people are like, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, there's one of my Discord members, she wanted like a list of like interesting chats to read. And so I broke it down into, these are the grossest ones that are going to upset you. These are the ones that are less upsetting and you'll laugh, blah, blah, blah. And she chose like one of the really upsetting ones. And like, before she went into it, I was like, you have to understand, like, before you go in, that this is a pre-conviction era. He never got convicted. So you're not going to have at the end at least he goes to jail. Like, it's going to be really upsetting and he's not going to get in trouble for it. But Red Baroness did the chat, so the decoy notes are going to get you through it. And like, she has been like posting screenshots of her reading it. Like, if it wasn't for like Red Baroness's jokes through this, like, I might just sit down and cry. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, that's the best part is reading it with the commentary on. That's what gets you through it. And if people have a problem with that, that's really fucked up because you're fine with the pedophile chat log, but not the brief breaks of joy in between where you get to see them dunked on. What kind of person are you?
It always made me paranoid that they were just like, oh, the blue text is getting in the way of my enjoyment of this, erotic content. It's like,
Oh yeah.
that's not why we're posting this, people. We're not posting it, so you can, have fun or whatever. So that was always my paranoia about it, about people who would make that comment. It's like, that's kind of sketchy. That it really bothers you that much. You're going to come and yell at me on Instant Messenger about it,
Yeah, like
So,
I get weird comments kind of a lot, which is obviously I am a
yeah,
woman on the
obviously.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. I've heard and been through worse, but when people are like you have such a beautiful voice, like it's so hot or whatever. I'm like, okay, and you're listening to me read pedophile chat logs and this is the context in which you're like, wow, that's hot. I'm fucking blocking you immediately. Like the fuck is wrong with you?
It just goes on the list of reasons why I'm so glad I'm a dude. It's so nice
Yeah.
being a dude. It's so easy. I see guys online whine and cry about their plight as a male in modern society. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers don't know how hard they have it compared to us. It's so easy. Shut up, cat. It's so easy, and it's just every day I'm happy about it. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm a guy. It's so much easier.
Yeah, and like the worst part about it isn't even going through like all of the bullshit that you have to go through as a woman. Like the worst part is having men tell you that you're not actually experiencing it. That's the worst part. And like, have you even thought about the male loneliness epidemic? Like, yeah, I know why y'all are lonely. Y'all are trash. Like,
Yeah, it's such a plight to have even a slight personality to find a date. It is so hard, so
and
difficult.
all the shit they complain about is literally stuff that men are doing to other men. Like, who do you think put all of the it's not women didn't make it so that only men can be in the military. Like, we didn't do that. So, well, you guys don't get drafted. Yeah.
Well, neither is anyone who's basically alive in the last 50 years either, in America at least, So
Yeah.
you shut
Yeah,
up.
but they had to sign up at one point. That's really hard.
I never did. I don't know why they did. I never
They
did.
did.
I don't know how they catch you on that because I never signed up for the selective service. So
I remember like my
I think I'm
brother.
admitting to a crime right now, but I never
Oh
did.
my god, live on air.
Yeah, there you go.
They're coming for you now. Like, and they're gonna put you in the time machine and take you back to I don't know, fucking whatever. Yeah, I remember my brother had to, but he turned 18 during like right after 9/11, so I don't know if that was part of it or not, but I remember him having to sign up for it. They did it at school.
Yeah, it might be because I was from Portland, Oregon, and Portland is known for not being very cooperative on such things. So who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That could
Yep.
entirely be it. Oh yeah, see, I did really good distracting from the fact that I fucked up the intro, didn't I? There we go. Okay. Okay, I got this. Okay. I can't imagine. Like mm-mm. Especially when like I get annoyed on your behalf just from like dumbasses that I have to deal with and not even ones that are talking directly to me. I will start fights in like other people's comment sections about it as well. Like someone was they were like I don't even remember what video it was on. But they were like, "Oh, did perverted justice like doctor chat logs? I wouldn't put it past them." And like there hell hath no fury like Morticia when someone mentions doctored chat logs.
The thing that when people say that, the thing that always boggles me is like, I would have gone to jail, right? That's
Yeah.
called fraud. That's called criminal fraud. I'm under oath in this case, for example, I'm under oath. If I'm putting forward a doctored chat log, and then they always act like I'm really stupid, like I get that a lot too. But it's like, so I'm dumb and a bad person and evil, but I'm also wily enough to trick all these jurisdictions with my fake information and not go to jail. Like, That's not realistic. I would have gone straight to jail. It would have been the worst thing to have done, to have tried to doctor anything. And there's no reason to do it in the first place, because this is not hard to get guys, to have guys like this lead the conversation. I basically just have to say, no problem, and cool. And he will just go, I want to put my tongue in you. I don't need to doctor anything. It's fucking silly.
And like just an ounce of critical thinking, which I understand is in like criminally short supply, but like just an ounce of critical thinking. If y'all were gonna doctor the chat logs, then why is there so much disparity? Like why would there be ones that really aren't that graphic? Like and why wouldn't you take out like wouldn't you make it like so airtight where the other like the predator themselves is just like this slobbering, disgusting, like graphic fuck, and the decoy's like, please no, stop, I hate this, and they're like, I'm gonna do it anyway, fuck you. Like why wouldn't you, if you're gonna doctor it, why wouldn't you make it a slam dunk case? Why would you put yourself through this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why get dragged through the mud for this? If it's just, the whole thing was just really silly. And it's just, whenever people say, oh, they probably doctored stuff, it's like, I would have gone to jail, straight to jail. I wouldn't have passed go, no $200. I would have gone to jail. I would have been sued to oblivion. I would be in a hole somewhere. Like that would just be that. Like you couldn't do that on the scale of the chats we had. If we doctored all these chats, I would have gone to jail at some point. Nobody's that much of a master criminal that they could get away with that. It would just not happen.
Yeah, and like there's tons of, I'm sure, like there's tons of conversations that happened where the intent just wasn't clear enough and you couldn't get them to inevitably say it clearly enough that you had to essentially cut them loose.
Yeah,
and
oh god, yeah. There's way more conversations where that happened than there were the ones that we took to completion. I mean,
yeah, and people really think that the only ones that happened are the ones that are posted on Perverted Justice, and that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally, for every conversation you saw on the website that ended in a conviction, I probably, like, for example, in this thing, I probably had another 20 to 30 conversations for every one that showed up. So you're probably talking around 200 conversations, and 7 show up.
Yeah, like it's insane to me that anyone's like they doctor it. Like you could have had so many more convictions if you were gonna make shit up.
Oh, it would have been easier, a lot easier, just to not have to sit there and just like, oh, I'm gonna type this up and I'm gonna pick somebody random from the phone book like I'm the Joker. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it'd have been so much. People are so fucking stupid.
Possibly be charged with contempt of court. Yeah, no, I can control myself, guys. Relax. It's all good.
Yeah, like I've yelled at countless men in bars, and I also don't yell at every single man I speak to. It's almost like,
should. I probably should.
I
Make
try.
A habit of it. Just go to the convenience store and like, hey, you bastard.
Just start yelling at people.
I want gum. Yeah.
I should, honestly. I'm just too nervous to raise my voice usually, but for some reason, like when I walk into a bar, all of a sudden I become an absolute jerk, and I don't know why. It's the only place where I'm not painfully shy and desperately afraid of speaking to people. Like I have assaulted people in bars for saying things to me I don't like.
Oh,
and like, but at the same time,
you sound tough.
I am tough.
Oh my god.
I'm 6'4". I'm a doctor. Wouldn't it be rad though if I was 6'4"? Oh my god, that would be.
I don't know. There's joint pain and stuff. It's no good.
I mean, yes, but men don't harass two kinds of women: older women and tall women. If I was 6'4", bulletproof. They'd be afraid I'd pick them up and dunk them in a toilet, and I would. Speaking of dumbass rumors, I did want to ask you a question, seeing as how it annoys the living fuck out of me constantly, so I'd like to have it on record. Can you just explain that you didn't fucking destroy hard drives? Because it's the stupidest goddamn thing anyone's ever thought.
Yeah,
ever.
I see that all the time. Like I read the comments like an idiot. Like, I'm dumb. I read comments.
I can't
Even
stop
back in the
myself.
day, I read all the comments. Like, there was this long topics thread about Maurice Woolen that was like 800 pages, where all these people were debating the case. I probably read like 400 pages of that back when it was going on. I was just like, I want to type so bad. So, anyways, destroying hard drives. Here's why people think this. In this case, for example, the Woolen case, Burke, after the chat logs are admitted, Burke then randomly goes back and tries to subpoena my personal laptop that I'd used during the chat. And we're talking, this is well over a year after I did the chat. She hadn't subpoenaed it like right after the thing had happened, right after he was charged. She hadn't subpoenaed it when I was down there in California doing my testimony for the preliminary hearing. She subpoenaed it as a long shot, like a year later. But the problem is I bought really cheap laptops, really crappy ones, because I was cheapskate and poor. So I bought this HP laptop, which is why I'd done all the chatting on. And I am also an idiot video game addict. So I played Civ on it, like when there weren't stings, because, I love Civ. Civilization is my favorite game series. So it died because it was a cheap HP laptop. Now, I had taken all the evidence off of that immediately after this thing, sent it to the prosecutors. I had saved it on thumb drives. We have the proxy server, which is an entirely different computer. So all the evidence is there. I didn't have that laptop anymore because it died. It had been like a year and a half after that sting. It was a piece of shit. It overheated. It died. I can't turn over a computer that's dead. And I hadn't been asked about it or subpoenaed for it or anything like that. So when it died, I was just like, this is an old crappy laptop. I've got all my evidence off of it like a smart person long ago and transmitted it. It's all been accepted after I've testified in the preliminary hearing. Like, all my evidence has been accepted by the judge. So I wasn't thinking, I should keep this dead ass laptop around, and I threw it away because it wasn't a piece of evidence I was asked for. And then she subpoenas way later and then makes this big deal. He threw away this laptop. It's like, well, I'm sorry. I gave you all the evidence off of it. I didn't keep it because it died. You wouldn't be able to do anything with it anyways. What am I supposed to do? And from that, she goes to the media. The media just writes up whatever she says. And she's like, he destroyed a hard drive. I'm like, well, no, kind of, but no, not on purpose. And, you can't expect every computer to live forever. It just doesn't work. And then they bring it up on Florida. I don't know why. I guess somebody contacted one of the defense attorneys in Florida, and they said that we refused to turn over to work with a subpoena. The only subpoena we ever turned down was in those Florida cases, and it was a subpoena for every bit of data we had on our website. So the forums, like the entire database for the forums, which was really big, like gigs and gigs and gigs. So everyone's information who had signed up for our forums, everyone's email, it would all have been included in that, their private messages. And we didn't do any evidentiary gathering on our website. It's like going to 23andMe and they're subpoenaed 23andMe for every bit of information they have on anyone who's ever gone to their website and signed up for it. And we said, we tried to fight that subpoena. The judge was the same judge in both cases. And the defense attorneys tried to go for this all the time. Like, they were like, we want your all your databases and passwords for the online portion of the website, which was we didn't use for evidentiary purposes, which would have been all our passwords and all that stuff. And prosecutors always argued against it, and judges would be like, yeah, that's way too much of an overreach. Like, dozens of defense attorneys had tried this. But for some reason, this judge didn't like us in Florida, the same judge, one judge. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And we're like, whoa, we're going to appeal this, And then he threw out the case after we filed that we were going to appeal it, and he threw out the case. And then the whole thing became, they refused to turn over evidence. Like, no, we turned over all of our evidence. They wanted so much more, and we were going to fight it. And then the judge just said, fuck it, I'll just throw it out. So, I mean, what can you do? You can't, if a judge wants to do that and goes kind of AWOL like that, it's not much I could have done in that situation. I couldn't turn over all of our databases with everyone's personal information that had ever gone to the website. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy as shit.
Yeah. So it was like a huge overreach. We're going to fight it. He throws out the case. At that point, well, what are we going to, we can't appeal that ruling because he's already thrown out the case in a fit because we said we weren't going to we were going to get a lawyer and appeal his ruling. And then he just tossed the 2 cases. So I'm like, oh, what can you do? I mean, what can you do? I hate that it happened, but I couldn't turn over everyone's data that had ever signed up for the website. It's insane.
Yeah, and that would make people less likely in the future to sign up for things, knowing that it's possible that at any moment in the course of getting a conviction, that all of their personal information that goes into it could be turned over.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's one of the smallest parts of it, but I mean, you also have a responsibility to the people who give you credentials in order to use the site that you set up. Like, you have a responsibility to them to keep that safe.
Yeah, to keep that safe. And, it's basic data privacy protection. It had no bearing on the case because, again, we didn't chat through our website. We didn't record chat logs on our website.
Yeah.
There's no evidence there. Like, there's nothing to hide. It's just I can't give over everyone's email addresses and passwords and private messages and everything about them in that way, because we were also being attacked by randos, psychopaths, stalkers. People would call up people that they had doxed and figured out, and they would literally call them up, be like, "I'm going to kill you if you keep working for these people" and stuff. So I couldn't risk everyone's data getting out like that. So that's what happened in Florida, and it got twisted into they wouldn't turn over hard drives. Like, we turned over so many hard drives. We mirrored our proxy server. I can't even tell you how many hard drives we bought and mirrored that proxy server to and sent to cases. I sent a mirror of our proxy server with every chat we ever did to Blair Burke for the Woolen case because we were subpoenaed to do so. So, it's one of those things. People believe what they want to believe, but you don't get over 600 convictions if you're fucking around that hard. You just don't.
Yeah, and like that's one of those things where any modicum of critical thinking whatsoever, it's insane. Just if you think about it for 3 seconds, it's fucking insane. Why wouldn't you like they also believe that you guys are so desperate for convictions that you'll doctor chat logs and evidence, but also won't turn over hard drives.
Yeah.
Like, what, you can't hold both of those things as truth in your head at once. Like, either they'll do anything, because like I've also seen like people say like, oh yeah, perverted justice, I wouldn't put it past them to like send people child porn in order to incriminate them.
Let's go to federal jail. That sounds good. That sounds really good. Let's just disseminate child pornography and go straight to federal jail for a long time. Oh, great plan. I like that one.
What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Like that's the one that makes me the angriest, because like why that? Because just the dissemination of child sexual abuse materials it's not a victimless crime.
No.
Because whoever's in the images is like, that happened already, it's done in the past, nothing you can do about it. Like it is what? I'm getting angry. Like, why would anyone?
Yeah, it was also the biggest pain in the ass when it would be sent. I mean, it happened rarely, but it did happen once in a while. That when a guy would send us something, we didn't know if it was or wasn't, because they would sometimes say it was, but it was actually like somebody much older. But sometimes there were a few instances where people were sent it, and we had an FBI contact for it. We had to immediately go and say, this is what we got. Immediately. Now, I'm not talking a month later. I'm not talking days later. I'm not talking a week later. I'm not talking after the chat's done. That was an immediate thing. That was like, it's like if you ever worked around chemical materials in like a warehouse or something, and that was the equivalent of that. When hazmat breaks, you immediately deal with it. That was what that was for us. So we would have to go to our FBI contact and be like, look, this guy sent us to this. Would you like to pick up this case? It was sent between states. This is just so we could indemnify ourselves, because the last thing I needed was any of our people being arrested by in some ridiculous circumstance because they were sent one of these guys on a case we're working. It would have killed my entire organization. It would have killed it dead. I wouldn't have had a single volunteer work in chat rooms after that. It would have been too dangerous. So we had protocols for all that. We dealt with it. The idea that we were sending it out, it's just stupid. Like, we go straight to jail. We're being monitored. We're a nonprofit, so we're being had oversight from the federal government because of our nonprofit status. But I'm also working with DHS and the FBI in some cases. We would have gone straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect 100. You go straight to jail. So it's stupid. But like, there's a million things like that. Like, and there's, I go on and on and on. Like, there's a million little things where it's like, if you think about it for more than 2 seconds and realize I had no protection from being arrested this entire time. I couldn't just go break the law willy-nilly like I'm Jesse fucking James. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you're not 007. They didn't give you a license to
No.
fucking do whatever you wanted. Like,
Like, you know, I told off a reporter and people uploaded it and hated on me for years for it, which was fine. Like, I don't mind that. If somebody's like, oh, he was really mean to that old reporter, I don't like him. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Whatever. That's fine. Legit. That's a legit reason. But I couldn't even tell off a reporter and not get like told on, you know?
yeah.
So all these nefarious crimes and schemes, like, I would have gone straight to jail. I'm not friggin' Lex Luthor over here. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and people seem to think that like you're just like, the way Joey calmed me down about talking to you is by saying, you know, he's just some dude.
Yeah.
And like that's such a good point here too. Like you're just some dude. Like you're not
Like,
Luther.
I started the website when I was 23. I started the thing that became the website when I was 23. I had no money whatsoever. Poor as fuck, you know. Like, it's not like Elon Musk sitting in like a golden temple or something, you know. Like, I had no resources. If I had committed a crime, I would have gone straight to jail. There's no getting around that. So I made sure not to commit crimes. That's the best way not to go to jail.
I don't see why, like, if you guys did for some reason think that it was in your best interest to send child sexual abuse materials to a predator in order to get them convicted, why didn't you guys do it all the time? You know, like if that's what they believe, that you guys would do that in order to get a conviction, why? Which not even thinking about the fact that while you're having the chat, you would have to be able to see into the future to know that it was going to be a fight in court in order to be like, okay, this is the moment where I should send this. Why wouldn't you do it during every single one? If that's what you were doing, it doesn't just.
You also, when you're talking to these guys, you don't know which ones are going to show up. And also, in most of these cases, with Dateline or without Dateline, whenever we did a law enforcement thing, the guys were showing up at the house getting arrested. It was fairly rare, unfortunately, for the police to go and actually conduct a search warrant on their home and their computer. So what benefit would there have been to do something like that? It's not like we would have got extra charges because most of these guys' computers weren't searched through by law enforcement with search warrants afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell would the benefit be? There wouldn't be a benefit. There wouldn't be extra charges for it, most likely, because they would go home and destroy their heart computer or destroy whatever was on it, like Conrad tried to do.
Yeah. Like it's so fucking stupid. And not only that, but like, why would anyone, you would have to look at it in order to send it to somebody. And why would anyone want to see that?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so, like, there's no, even like you look at it from like a completely unemotional standpoint, a completely logical standpoint, there's no benefit to it because, again, it's not going to most likely lead to extra charges. It's also not something that's like going to convince a guy to come over. Like, you know, like you don't really need to convince a guy to come over, but like in the Woolen chat, for example, I do a lot of pouting and a lot of that stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that keeps the conversation moving forward, not just sending a random image. So, yeah.
There's just no point. So, I mean, I mostly asked you that so that if somebody brings it up again, I'm going to make like just a video of you explaining these points and I'm just going to start linking them to people every time someone asks.
As I found, like, I tried to explain this stuff back in the day. A lot of stuff, even weirder stuff than that, like weirder allegations and stuff. And people believe what they want to believe online. And that's what the thing I had to realize over time. Like when I started out, I was very young, mid-20s, late 20s. And I thought, if you explain things to people and you lay it out in a logical and consistent and coherent format, this is how naive I was. They will read it, process it, and understand it.
No, honey.
When the internet came around, when I first got on the internet, I was 18. So I was like, wow, this is going to make people so much better. This is going to be amazing. Everyone's going to have all this information that they couldn't get otherwise. people are become more intelligent. They're going to become better to talk to. It's going to make people so much better. Holy fuck. Could I have not been more wrong about anything in my entire fucking life?
Yeah, it just made everyone worse.
Yeah, I think back to that, and I think about like what was I ever most wrong about? I will never top that. That couldn't have been more wrong. Like, oh my god, you dumbass. No, it's exactly the opposite. So
yeah,
I feel fortunate that you to a lesser extent because you're younger than me, but I feel fortunate to the extent that I had a lot of time on the planet before the internet, and to be able to see what it's like afterwards and see just how people are. And they will believe what they want to believe. It does not matter what you say to them in most cases.
Yeah, so, unfortunately. Yep. Yeah, like how people think that I have blackmail on you. And
oh, yeah. Well, I forgot to mention that. So my Aunt May is very old and frail. And I'm always worried about her finding out my secrets and having a heart attack. You know, so, Morticia, Morty here, she hit me up. She's like, I know all these bad things about you. I'm going to tell your Aunt May and she's going to die. And I was like, oh, okay. I'll give you all this chat. Like, come on. Like, if somebody had asked me for this material in a cool way 7 years ago, and you didn't even ask me for this material.
No, I did not.
I offered it. But if somebody had like approached me who was like a YouTuber or in the scene that all you weirdos are into, pro tip, if you want people to like respond well to you and you talk to them like they're human beings and not like a repository for random weird information, it goes so much better, as you found out, because you emailed me, sent me this cool ass email with actual paragraphs and periods and punctuation, and I'm like, wow, some people still do this. That's amazing.
Yeah, I put my 1.5 years of a secondary education and English degree to work.
These are complete sentences. What is this magic? Yeah, so that's all it was. Like, there's no weirdness to it. It's just, I know it's like, hey, would you like information? I have information for you. You might be able to use. I didn't know you could use any of it. I was like, oh, I don't know what's in here. Here's my dusty old trunk full of perverts. Here you go.
I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like, I felt like I had a heart attack when you first mentioned it. I think I did this thing where like I shut my phone off and like kind of left it on my bed while I went to like make coffee and wake up, because I was like, I think I might be hallucinating. I think I'm hallucinating. And then I got like really nervous because I was like, oh my God, I really hope, like, I think I remember having this conversation with Joey at the time. I was like, I really hope he doesn't think that I talked to him and specifically for this. Like, now I feel like, and he was like, are you gaslighting yourself about your own
that's exactly what it is. Like, oh yeah, I was so tricked. You were just so you're so beguiling and mischievous. Oh gosh,
and me talking about being nervous constantly.
And then you didn't even badger or hector me like I did to poor old Morty Swollen here. Like,
yeah, I didn't call you a chicken.
No chicken, no, none of that stuff. No, it's just, I would have turned that stuff over and opened up stuff if I thought there was anything useful on it. Like, I would have done that a long time ago had anyone approached me like, hey, do you have any stuff that could be useful, and how are you? Like, the how are you part, like, you didn't even ask for the stuff. It's just how are you is like, it's refreshing to hear someone say, hey, how are you doing? Like, blah 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 blah. And that's the reason I did it. Nothing weird about it. No weird conspiracy theories, although people will believe what they want to believe.
And I definitely will cut this part out. But as of doing this chat log with me, your blackmail contract with me is considered done. You no longer.
My aunt will live another year. That's great. Wonderful.
Yeah, sorry about what I did to Uncle Ben. That was my fault. And this has been J. Jonah Jameson. Thank you guys for tuning in. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do the most awkward outro ever. Anything else you wanna add?
Let me scroll real quick. I don't think so. I think I covered everything, and then like too much really. No, good. We're good.
The one question I have lingering is, when you found out he nicked it, Did you celebrate? Did you like pop some
Oh,
champagne?
it's
Or
great.
something?
I don't remember who told me. I think maybe Joey told me. Actually,
Really?
Discord. I think it was Joey that told me. Was it? Let me look real quick because I don't have that long of a conversation with Joey. I don't talk to him that much. Ah, yeah, it was Joey. Joey was the one that told me. I did not know until he told me. He didn't know that he had committed suicide. Then I thought he had got like COVID or something because it was literally January 2021. So like an old guy dying of COVID is pretty.
That would have made sense. Yeah.
Sure, that's what I thought. I didn't know that he necked it, but yeah, I know I'm fine with that. It's not the first one I've caused, and you know,
Here's to many more.
I don't think there'll be any more, hopefully, but
Come
yeah,
on. At least
I'm
one
good.
of them, please.
I've got my quota. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, well, someday I hope a pedophile kills himself because of me.
Dare to dream.
Dare to dream, and you know, shoot at the stars. You might land among the corpses.